guys. Take your hand.
So BOAVISTA versus Monaco, another enthralling tie. And you mentioned, Wes, about what BOAVISTA have to do in terms of being pragmatic. Can they get a 1-0? Are they good enough? And equally, are Monaco not good enough to not score? Because let's be honest, Monaco are probably one of the most free-scoring teams. Can you tie them down?
It's possible. Whether it's probable is a different matter entirely. I think you're going to have to go to have a really good defensive performance against Monaco. We know how well Monaco, play out, and how well they do going forward. It's a case now. We're looking at kind of how they're setting up at the moment. They've got a deep defensive line, which is basically drops your back four back and has a deep defensive line. So they're anticipating pressure early, but whether they can be locked down is a different question. I can't see Monaco coming out of this with a donut and have a 0-0 goals. I can't see it happening.
A big fat donut. And Monaco, we touched on how good they can be because they are the champions, and rightly so. They were absolutely superb last year, but have they strengthened as well? Because in Kilju, they've got a player who was one of the best young players in the PES League last year. I think he was 17 at the time. I may be wrong with that, and apologies if I was. But he was known as the wonder kid of the tournament, and they've added him to the ranks. That's an incredible acquisition.
Yeah, and the fact that he already knows how to play with Lotfi and he knows how to play with Uzma, and they already have a pre-existing chemistry. It's just a very good compliment to have. And as we saw from the fact that he was MVP of Matchday 1, he had a fantastic debut. And I'm expecting him to carry that on. And like I said, for me, I can only see this going to Monaco, but I'm open to being pleasantly surprised.
You'd have to say, in terms of this tournament, in terms of the knowledge of some of the players, we have more, so to say, with less experience in the BOAVISTA ranks. Do you think that can aid them, or do you think they might be a bit rabbit in the lights?
Well, we mentioned this in Matchday 1, and it was a case of, the first game for them was a free hit, because it was a case of, okay, we need to get used to being in a different place, we need to get used to being in the studio, we need to get used to a whole load of different things. Now that they've got that off their back, they can go, okay, well, we can just focus on being the players.
And of course they won one of the games in Matchday 1.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and they took an approach of when it came to the last 10 minutes and they were in front, they closed the game down. So
well, we know AS Monaco start very, very quickly usually, and they are on the front foot straight away looking for that early goal, because they know the longer the game goes on, the easier it will be for BOAVISTA to possibly grab something. An early goal for Monaco would probably be a very, very uphill task, as the ball is cleared by BOAVISTA out towards his left-hand side, one back, and Maripan gives it away. It's been a strong start here from BOAVISTA as the ball gets played over the top. A lovely chance here, and BOAVISTA have potentially shot the eFootball.Pro League, because that was not what we were expecting.
Well, it's like we said, they throw off the shackles and off they go. It took their first opportunity. Monaco could have done better with it down the end of the pitch. Instead, a lightning-fast counter-attack from BOAVISTA. Tavares did very well in the middle to regain the ball, and it was a great finish as well. I thought it was going to cross goal. They've gone, nope, took it in the inside. Job done. Tavares, great finish.
We talk time and time again about experience in these big tournaments, these big competitions, but sometimes, just sometimes, stars are born, and that might be what is happening here with BOAVISTA, because we've got three players here who are slightly unknown in terms of the global situation with PES, but boy, are they starting to make a name for themselves, Wes.
Well, we made the point again in Matchday 1 to say, to those at home, may not necessarily know who these players are, but in the Portuguese ranks, they're known very, very well.
Absolutely.
And the way that they're conducting their business at the moment, it's a case now of, what have you got, Monaco?
The one thing I would like to say is that Arsenal went 1-0 up against Monaco in the opening game of Matchday 1, and they lost 6-1. So let's not count our chickens just yet. But they have possession again, and this has been incredibly confident performance from BOAVISTA FC. Have they come in and signed 3 players, just plucked them out and put them together and created a master team? That is the question.
Well, it'll be remain to be seen. There's still plenty of time to go in the game, but as frustration goes on, we know, in terms of Monaco's ranks, we know that Uzmakabal gets frustrated.
An emotional man.
He's an emotional man. Although as we go
another
through,
chance here. The pass was on. The pass was on. It was a swing and a miss. Otherwise, that was surely 2-0, and that's a whole different ball game. As the ball gets played up towards the left-hand side, Baldi plays it through. Slimani, 1-1, and it's as simple as that. And that's what happens at the highest level. If you miss an opportunity, you will be punished.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen that today either. One gilt-edged chance down at one end, it breaks and it goes down the other, and it was a great finish from Slimani, who was used to great effect in Matchday 1, albeit in a different way. He was used in a ball be delivered up to him physically, and could hold up the ball. Instead, this one was actually relying on his pace. The ball broke. It was a lovely ball, and it was a great finish from Slimani.
Great response from AS Monaco. You've got to feel a little bit sorry for BOAVISTA, who you'd feel should be 2-0 to the good, but unfortunately this is the business end of the game. We are in the eFootball.Pro, of course, and you make a mistake or you don't take your chances, you are punished, and I just hope for their sake they don't let that momentum in that attack change the whole sort of going forwards in this game, because they've got to almost brush it off now, haven't they, Wes?
Yeah, I mean, you saw the reaction, which was quite telling from the Monaco players. Which the goal goes in, they weren't really interested.
Nothing.
They just wanted to get on with it, and you can sense there's probably a little bit of disappointment there already.
Thought Baldi was going to get in there.
Goal scorer was Uzmakabal. It was a good ball in from Kilzu to make it 1-1, but now it's a case of, again, BOAVISTA now in an environment they're not used to being in. Monaco, again, like you alluded to, Matchday 1, they got 1-0 down to Arsenal, and are used to this scenario. So now it's just going to be a case of how do BOAVISTA react.
25 minutes gone, halfway through the first half. BOAVISTA 1, AS Monaco 1. Of course, the Portuguese side taking the lead, and then Monaco snapping back after a missed opportunity for BOAVISTA as the ball gets played down the right-hand side, and now Naldo clears his lines. And I mean, it's been a decent response from BOAVISTA. They've not done anything too over the top in terms of trying to grab a second goal. They've got to potentially weather a storm, but they can create one themselves here as the ball gets played through, but cleared away towards Baldi, and now one back. It's still been a pretty impressive performance so far from BOAVISTA, even though they have conceded. Yeah,
you can see there doesn't really appear to be that much fear on them. When you're looking at them, they're heavily focused. They're challenging for every ball. They're making sure they're getting there, as we've just seen there. It's just a case now of, can they execute under pressure?
Possibly AS Monaco might have underestimated them a little bit, because they've been a bit sloppy so far, a bit complacent, but we are on as even 1-1 as Bakayoko plays the ball forwards, blocked, and now it's in towards Tavares, and now Rafael Costa gives the ball away. Chance to counter again for AS Monaco. Maripan finds Baldi on this left-hand side, who's been ever-present in the Monaco breaks forward, and now a good challenge again. 36 minutes gone. Anything tactically you've seen, Wes?
Not overly heavy on tactics at the moment. It's scrappy.
Bit of a free-for-all.
It's scrappy. It's scrappy at the moment, and it's...
Whose hands does that play into, do you think?
I think it plays into BOAVISTA's. I really do. I think it plays into BOAVISTA's because Monaco are used to a rhythm. They're used to the way that they play. If you can knock them out of it, in whichever way, although there's
another
a bad mistake.
Though, Slimani, it's in towards Augustine. Another chance to cross it in. Great defending in the end, but, I mean, they are allowing a few mistakes to creep into their game, BOAVISTA, and they've got to be very, very careful here.
Yeah, 100%. They need to be incredibly careful.
Cleared away. Only as far as Bakayoko on the turn. Can't get the shot away, hacked away. Chance to counter here for Tavares, and now Idris out towards the right-hand side. The pass was on, but he's gone the other way. What a switch that was. But his first touch was a sloppy one, and now the Monaco players get back in numbers. and they give the ball away. That was a chance, that was.
There was. It was, and it was a slight hesitation from Paulinho there, as we see a long ball into Suleimani.
Suleimani's onside. Another child. Great defending there from BOAVISTA. And they've got to be careful because that ball is on every single time, isn't it, Wes?
Yeah, they have to be very, very careful. We know the physical threat that Suleimani possesses. A quick point on BOAVISTA's makeup today. They've had Joker that's come into their ranks after being at the IESF finals last time. So, again, adds a different dynamic. It's a new debut, and it's adding a bit more of a free flow to the game.
It has indeed. So, honours even in this first half. Monaco 1, BOAVISTA 1. BOAVISTA taking the lead very early on against the, well, you'd have to say against the thoughts of everyone involved, other than the guys in the BOAVISTA ranks, which, let's be honest, will be more than confident with their own abilities, and rightly so. But most people on paper would have said that the current champions would have won this game, and we're on as even.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at there. It's on a knife edge. We keep using that expression, but it is on a knife edge at this point. It's anybody's, and I think if BOAVISTA can ride out the storm probably in the first 15-20 minutes, I think they'll be on for at least a point.
If this score remains the same and we do have a 1-1 stalemate, that will be 1 point apiece, of course, and that will put AS Monaco joint top of the table with a game to play so far today as the ball gets played out of play for a corner. They will be on 7 points alongside Juventus, Bayern Munich and Manchester United, but they've got another 3 points at stake after this, and of course if they score again, they could be sat on 12 at the end of today. Idris in towards the danger where it turns, blocked off the line, turned home, and BOAVISTA have scored a second goal. They scored a goal right at the start of the first half, right at the start of the second half, and what a performance, Wes.
That is such an intelligent set piece. If you look at the way they set that set piece up, they looked as though they were going to drill it into the box. Instead, it went along the floor. There was a manual pass that was in there. And granted, it doesn't go in at the first time of asking, but it was the fact they're alive to it. That's an intelligent ball. That's going to be severely underrated. It was a great block on the line from Badashile, but it doesn't matter.
I was going to say, if you're that man on the line, you've got to think, my luck's out today. But that's it. Like you said, it's not just playing the game. It's going deeper, isn't it?
Yeah.
That goal. It's. Do you think that's something they've worked on, possibly, in training, or do you think that's something they just thought of spur of the moment there?
I think that's a reading the situation, because if you're attacking Monaco at a corner, you've got Naldo, Glick, Badashile, who are all incredibly tall, incredibly physical. You can't win an area ball against them, and BOAVISTA seem to have learned what their positive points are. They know that Tavares is an out ball. They know that Idris will try and control their midfield. They're very, very well tuned to what they need, and that was just brilliant. It was almost improvisation of a set piece, because you could see they were lining up to potentially drill it into the box. Instead, they've gone, no, we know what we can do here, and it caught Monaco cold.
It did indeed. So, Juventus 1. No, sorry, that was the last game, of course. AS Monaco 1, BOAVISTA 2, and it's all to do again for the champions, as Augustine now has the chance to win it back, but he's given it away. And as we tick towards the final third of the first game, we're looking at the first real shock of today.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the outpouring of emotion when that second goal goes in, there's an argument to suggest that it could easily be a negative to be that emotional. But as we see here,
Another chance here for Suleimani in towards Baldi.
It's a good block again.
Corner kick out on the far touchline. And it's an interesting corner, blocked and back out again. What do AS Monaco need to do now, Wes?
Ideally, I think they need to just find a way back into their rhythm. And if you're understanding why this corner keeps getting blocked here, where you're trying to drill the ball, and if you have the player at a particular point, which is what BOAVISTA are doing, you can stop that ball. You can stop that ball from coming in at all times, and they've kind of read what Monaco do at that point, and it's nullifying any type of attacking threat they can have at set pieces.
Fascinating to watch here as the throw comes in for AS Monaco. They really need something here. A goal, of course, would not be the end result. It wouldn't be a terrible result to get a point out of this first game and then go again. They'll be still sat on 7 points, as we said, and they still have 3 to play as Maripan plays it forward towards Augustine. Potentially another chance here for the French side. Hacked away. Now, what do BOAVISTA do, Wes, to see this game through?
Well, if you're BOAVISTA and you believe in your defensive game plan, or you believe in your defensive kind of prowess, you tuck your tail and you hope that you can ride this out.
You tuck your tail.
You tuck your tail and you hope.
Love that. Love that.
You hope that it stays 2-1. But if you,
it's so difficult though with such great players on the field, the likes of Baldi, the likes of Slimani, the goal scorer already, and of course Augustine as well.
Yeah, and they've got weapons on the bench as well. There's Gelson Martins yet to appear. You've got Cesc Fabregas, who can unlock a door better than anybody.
Methinks you've been playing with AS Monaco on eFootball PES over the year.
Somebody may have done. But you look at it and you have those options.
You certainly do. As the ball gets played back towards the goalkeeper, and I mean, I know we keep harping on about it, but it's pure game management now from BOAVISTA. They are more than happy just to keep things ticking over, and with the chance to catch them on the counter, because the more the game goes on, the longer we go towards the end, they're going to start leaving gaps at the back. AS Monaco with tied legs. This is another chance here in towards the danger area. Great challenge there. Struggling to see which player made that challenge. It was a vital one, and will, of course, go towards defensive points for the best defensive player of the season. We also have top goal scorers and top assist makers as the ball gets played towards Cassiano. Blocked behind for a corner, and BOAVISTA, they could be more than 2-1 up here.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and you look at the way that they're playing now. They've rode out that storm of of a 10 or 15 minute period, and now they're looking like they're trying to go and score a third, which would probably be the best thing for them to do. It really would shore this game up. I mean, you're looking at the players that are coming off the bench here. You're looking at Gelson Martins, who's come on. You're looking at who else is coming off the bench here. You can see that BOAVISTA are deep in thought whether they're going to bring on Mateus. They do bring him on in the end.
You mentioned how we were expecting them to be quite defensive, and then they kind of feel like they've gone again. In my head, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, are they being incredibly smart here and knowing that momentum is such a crucial thing, not only in so-called, in quotes, real football, but also in esports football? That momentum swing, they've realised that AS Monaco haven't been able to capitalise while they're on top, and that momentum swing might be in play now, and they could go again and get a third and kill the game. Very
much so. They certainly seem to be on top of things. The more time that this ball spends in the Monaco half, the less time it comes to actually spending time in the back of the BOAVISTA net. So if that's the way they wish to attack it, if that's the way in which they choose to try and take this game on, then it's great for them. It'll be fantastic if they can come away with this with 3 points.
It'll be such a huge 3 points, and interestingly, it'd be interesting to see how Monaco deal with the defeat, because let's be honest, they would have thought going into this game, 6 points on the board, we could finish today with 12.
Well, it's a situation we don't really see them in.
Flicked on again. Oh, they've been, like you said, their set pieces today, very, very impressive.
Yeah, they're trying everything. They're trying to select their man before they deliver the ball. Again, if you can get a flick on it, it can sometimes lead to a very easy finish.
Speaking of flick-ons, we've got one there as Cassiano now has a chance to play it back. Lovely back heel in towards the danger area, just couldn't quite pull the trigger. The home fans wanted to see something there, and then anywhere will do. And as we tick into the final 15 minutes, this has been one of the most impressive performances so far we've seen in Season 2 of eFootball.Pro, but we still have 15 minutes. What do AS Monaco need to do now?
They need to change it up. And again, like we've said before, Plan A is great. Plan A is brilliant, but if Plan A doesn't work, where is Monaco's Plan B here? Do they have a switching formation? Do they have a switching personnel?
Do they have a Plan B? Have we seen a Plan B ever?
I've never seen them have to go to Plan B, which would suggest that they don't have one in the first place. But I'm very intrigued. I mean, they've put Malegri on now. Again, a physical player to put on. And again,
same formation?
Yep, same formation. They've not switched formation. At least BOAVISTA have. And they've switched it to kind of 2 wide players, and they're trying to get the ball out wide just to give themselves a bit of respite.
Good block there. Still, the pressure piles on for AS Monaco, searching for the equalising goal, and almost it's come back off the woodwork and tipped.
What a save.
What an unbelievable stop from the BOAVISTA goalkeeper. You thought for all the world to see that was going to nestle into the back of the onion bag, but it's gone the wrong side of the post. How unlucky can you be? But there's 9 minutes to grab an equalising goal.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that passage of play, and these guys know how to block this corner that's coming in from Monaco. So, again, the more time the ball keeps going out, the more time that gets wasted. They need to come up with something else potentially.
Oh, it's done. Oh, we've got a goal. And just when we said, what answer have they got? They found one, Wes.
Yeah, and
Scrappy,
it's that,
but they won't care.
Yeah, no, they won't mind. And it's like we said, it's that set piece. If you can block it, it's great. If you don't block it and you can get a flick on, it's a very easy goal to score. I mean, he's completely unmarked there, Gelson Martins. It's easy enough. BOAVISTA will be disappointed.
I was just going to say, it's so ironic because we've been singing their praises all afternoon about how good they are defensively from not only defensively, but offensively from set pieces. And they've let themselves down there. They've allowed Monaco to get an easy flick on, and that is the equalising goal. The question is, this would be heartbreaking for BOAVISTA if AS Monaco were to go and get a third now and win this game, which they might just do, because it's Pellegrini on the counter-attack, plays it in. Easy for the goalkeeper. That would have been a real sucker punch, Wes.
It would have been, yeah. I mean, you look at the performance and you look at how well BOAVISTA have played, and dare I suggest that Monaco have played within themselves. Dare I suggest that they haven't been at the races as Tavares makes his way through.
It's another chance here though for BOAVISTA to snatch it again.
Oh,
time and time again they've got him down that left-hand side. AS Monaco have not been able to deal with that threat, and they've got the ball back here. It's another chance right at the death to win it. It's in towards Cassiano, surely.
He's
the offside flag's raised. I can't believe it. Hands on heads all around the studio, because it looked like that was going to be the winning goal deep into added on time, but the offside flag is raised. Heartbreak for BOAVISTA. The question is now, is there one last chance for either of these two teams to go and snatch an unlikely winner? It's in towards Pellegrini. Now it's back to Martins. In towards Pellegrini again. Still in the danger area. Surely another chance here. Blocked by the defender and hacked away. Still 1 minute of added on time. Are we going to see a winning goal, or is it going to finish 2-2 here? It looks like that's going to happen, and honours even.
That'll feel like 3 points to BOAVISTA. I'll tell you that for nothing. The performance they put in there was superb, and it's like you said, it's one set piece that goes the right way, and it's 2-2. I think Monaco will be bitterly disappointed with that.
You mentioned that, but on the other foot, BOAVISTA was so close to getting all 3 points against probably the favourites of the whole competition.
Sure.
So they'll be disappointed as well, won't they?
Yeah, and if you look at it,
you can see that on his face there.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, yes, they'll be disappointed with the fashion that the draw came in. But when you look at it as well, if you said to BOAVISTA at Saturday, we'll give you 1 point in the first game, we'll give you 1 point in the second, they'd have probably snapped your hand off.
They certainly would. You feel, we don't know. Of course, it'd be nice to hear their thoughts after the game with Harry in the mix zone to see how they approached that game and how they're going to approach this game will be interesting to see, because there's inquests going on right across both teams.
Yeah.
You've got Uzmakabal, or Uzma as he's also known, very, very loud figure there when he needs to be and when he's emotional. The frown on the Frenchman there, he's not happy with something, and equally we've seen the captain from BOAVISTA exactly the same, shouting words of maybe advice. My Portuguese possibly isn't quite what it should be. Be interesting to know what he's saying. I'm sure we can possibly get some word from Harry after the game, because he is fluent in Portuguese. Yeah, I mean, what are we going to see in this next game, Wes? Because for AS Monaco, you feel clearly there's things they could work on. For BOAVISTA, same again?
Yeah, I think BOAVISTA will look at that game and take a lot of positives from that. I think Monaco, they need to kind of up the ante. You know, they blew away Arsenal on Matchday 1. Matchday 2 is not really panning out the way that they had imagined. You know, Lotfi in his pre-match interview was saying, "Yep, we're here to win again. We're here, that's always the goal." They'll be disappointed the fact that they've dropped 2 points.
They will indeed, as we are just seconds away from that second game. Of course, this is the fourth game of today so far. We had Arsenal versus Manchester United billed as a huge game, and it was a little bit tactical. It was great to watch for that reason, but in terms of, you know, that free-flowing affair that we like to see, in terms of goals, it didn't quite deliver. 2 1-0s either side for 3 points apiece. The only real game with goals was the Juventus-Schalke game. The Germans on the wrong foot there, and now we're into this game, and it's a really, really impressive performance from BOAVISTA, and now a very, very important second game for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if they can somehow replicate that performance, I mean, it's a massive ask. You know, we talk about, you know, in real football, we talk about, you know, teams punching up against other teams that they shouldn't arguably take results from. This one here could be a massive result if they could end up getting something else out of this game.
And in terms of Monaco, we touted them as one of the potential champions, of course. They are one of the strongest sides for obvious reasons, 3 great players. But if this next game doesn't quite go according to plan, if there's a defeat on the cards or another draw, do you think other clubs in this competition will be looking at this game and saying, well, how have BOAVISTA done that? And what can we do against Monaco in the next game?
100%. I feel there'll be a lot of teams watching this with great interest. And I think potentially if there's another shock result on, I think there'll be a lot of teams that will review the game footage and go, well, what did they do wrong? And what did BOAVISTA do so right? But, you know, we're waxing lyrical about BOAVISTA.
And they're sat with 1 point.
Yeah,
so it's not, you know.
Yeah, they've got 1 point out of the match day. They've got 4 overall. It'll be interesting to see what happens now. If Monaco have a bad game, is it their worst game, or do they still end up coming out victors?
Yeah, we mentioned in the last game, Schalke versus Juventus, how important that potential match was in terms of the season ahead. Equally, you feel this for not so much Monaco, but certainly for BOAVISTA. This is a key game now. Because imagine if they could get 3 points here, they would be sat on 7 points, and no one really at the start of the season would have gone, they could be potential champions. But this would send out a real message.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it from here, here's Augustine, it's a Balde, it's a Silimani! And as quick as we were talking about them being potential champions, Monaco take the lead.
We were waxing lyrical about BOAVISTA in that first game, and AS Monaco have shown time and time again throughout last season and this season, do not write these off, because they have the potential to hurt you at any occasion.
Yeah, we saw there, it was good work in there. It was fortunate that Augustine was backing Silimani up, but it's a great finish. It's a good ball in. As you can see there, they just worked it. You could see the rest of the BOAVISTA defence trying to get across to it, but Silimani was just too quick. And as we said, he's such a focal point for this Monaco side. It's very hard to shift him.
The thing that's worrying now, BOAVISTA led both times in the opening game. They now find themselves behind, and of course, AS Monaco, out of all the teams we have in this wonderful competition, they're probably the most dangerous on the counter-attack.
Yeah. You know, in terms of the choices of passes that they use, I mean, you can see their early pressure from
that high press coming in again.
Yeah.
As Augustine picks it up on the right-hand side and now has support from the goal scorer Slimani in towards Bakayoko, cleared away. Yeah, carry on. What
and you can just see that there is such a focal point for Monaco that, you know, it's very hard to shift him when he's on the ball. And like we said, BOAVISTA were used to, you know, they had Matchday 1 where they went behind against FC Nantes. What are they going to do here? Is it the same again, or are they going to try and counteract it and score again? It's going to be difficult.
It will be difficult indeed as the ball gets hacked downfield and flicked on. Another chance here through the middle. And one thing I noticed last season, and they've definitely continued it this year, is how much AS Monaco like that early ball straight through the middle.
Yeah, and the fact is, you know, with having Silimani now in the Monaco team, they now have an extra option to go to. A lot of it used to be Pellegrini, and now they have a physical presence in Silimani who can hold people off at will, almost.
The ball gets played up towards the edge of the penalty area from Baldi, but it breaks down. It's been a bit of a bitty. A bit of alliteration there, a bit of a bitty first opening 20 minutes here, but another chance here, this time for BOAVISTA, in towards Costa! The touch was too heavy, the goal was gaping, the goalkeeper was down. A simple top corner finish would have been 1-1, but that poor touch again, is that What's that down to? Is it just down to a player miscontrol?
It's just down to if you're holding the sprint button as you receive the ball, your player is more likely to take a heavy touch. If he takes a heavy touch, you can't then take the shot. You can't then take a pass. So you can run it very easily straight into the goalkeeper, which is exactly what happened there.
So BOAVISTA 0, AS Monaco 1. The first game, of course, finished 2-2 between these two great clubs. A point apiece. 3 points here for either side would be huge to finish match day 2 with 4 points from it, as Baldi twists and turns. And certainly for Monaco, you'd feel 4 points after not playing so well. I mean, we've only seen 25 minutes, but again, it's a similar pattern of play to the first game. Not playing the most elaborate or beautiful football, so to speak. It will be a huge result for them to get 4 points.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it and, again, if you'd have offered them 4 points at the start of the day, they'd probably take it, but they'd probably be asking where the 2 points were dropped. But again, I think that's ingrained by Monaco's used to being winning. It's a winning mentality. They spoke about it in match day 1. They spoke about it in match day 2. They spoke about it in the previews of the season. They have spoken about it at all times, going, do you know what? We're just here to win. And I think that's what kind of shakes Monaco a little bit into, I think this is the response. It's we've been shaken back into actually playing the way that we normally play.
Yeah, as Barbosa plays it out towards this left-hand side with Joker. Joker down the left-hand side for Gio, and then the good press there defensively from Monaco. I think it looked like Lotfi came across with that press, and now Slimani has the chance to counter here for Monaco. Lovely one-touch football. This is where they're so dangerous here. Quick one-touch football in towards Slimani, and the final pass just a bit behind where it needed to be, but that is why they are so dangerous.
It's a good defensive read there from Barbosa just to get in between the ball and the player. But again, you're talking set pieces. It's a gamble to take a player out of the box and try and block it. The ball's into the box, keeper flaps at it.
Here. I mean, that was some punch to get nearly out towards the halfway line, as Paulinho now plays the ball down the left-hand side, and the referee brings a stop to the game. What's happened here, Wes?
Well, he called it back for a foul, but for my eyes, Tavares was through there.
Controversial.
So he could have played advantage there.
5 minutes remaining in the first half here. BOAVISTA 0, AS Monaco 1. Paulinho down the left-hand side finds Tavares, plays it across. Easy claim. Does the attacking player need to do more? I think it was Joker. Does he need to do more there?
No, I think he did very well to get the ball into the box. If you see where you see the orange bar, that's where it's showing that it was a manual pass.
There's another chance here, though. Sorry to cut you off, because Monaco are in, and that might just be already game, set, match in this second game. And we said time and time again, if you don't score when you're on top and you allow Monaco to take the lead, they are so dangerous on the counter-attack.
Yeah, they're potent. It's the only word you can use to describe them. It's the interplay that was there to get Bolde, I believe it was, who finished off the goal, to get him into that position. They're some of the best players on the planet to get them into that position. You'll see it again here. To knock down to Slimani. Slimani plays it on. And that's why we always talk about playing an extra pass before you play in your player. Because if you're playing a sideways pass as opposed to the forward pass, you're sucking in an extra defender to come and try and get the ball, which leaves Bolde the space to then go and put this away.
Yeah, it just seems every time Monaco go forwards, once they take the lead, they always feel like they've got a player over all the time. It's so difficult to defend against. Yeah,
I mean, they look like they've taken complete control of this second game. I'm sure they'll be disappointed with it.
Such a killer goal just before our time as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You can see there they've just quickly gone to all defensive. So again, it's very much a mentality to see out the first half. So you can see that they're thinking already as they keep switching mentalities.
Slimani finds Baldi, plays it through, blocked, and Fabiano now hacks it forwards towards Barbosa, who was controlling Cassiano there for BOAVISTA, and it's not quite gone according to plan for the Portuguese team in this second game. Wes, what do they need to do to change things, to get back to doing what they were doing? Or is this game already gone because of how good they are on the counter-attack, Monaco?
I think they just need to be very careful of that counter-attack. The key stat, again, very similar to how we saw it with Schalke. BOAVISTA haven't had a shot that first half. They've not had an opportunity to even test the goalkeeper. So I think, you know, if you look at the way that they've set up, if you look at it, they've looked to mirror very much Monaco's formation, where, again, I think it needs to be more down to what are BOAVISTA's attributes, what are they good at, rather than trying to think, well, we need to play in a similar way or we need to play in a particular way. You need to find out what that team looks for. You know, do you use Mateus as a right winger who has a bit of pace? Do you use Tavares, you know, as an outball? You know, what are you? You know, you've got you've got all different types of players they can use. You've got Stojilkovic, who could be brought off the bench, who's a number 9. Could he be used as a focal point? They used him quite well in Matchday 1. It seems like they've gone away from that approach. Is that something they need to reconsider for Matchday 3?
Wise words there, Wes. Beautiful. As we are just about to get underway in the second half. BOAVISTA with it all to do. 2 goals. Really, either side of the bulk of play have given the French side a 2-0 victory up to half-time, of course. We have 45 minutes to play as the ball gets played up towards Slimani. One back by BOAVISTA, but it's another chance here for Monaco. A 3rd goal will definitely be all over. In towards the danger area. Good defending out for a corner to be taken by Naldo on the near touchline. But it looks like they're going to change that to Bakayoko. And once again, we see Fabiano coming across to block that near post. Didn't quite work and almost actually was counterproductive there, Wes, but it's been pretty successful for them so far over the 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it that type of corner take routine from Monaco players within PES League last year. The typical trait tends to be you would put full power on your cross and then select to a player really quickly. So it's basically a drilled, controlled cross. So it allows you that opportunity to really control where that ball goes, as opposed to it just flying out of the stadium.
Yeah, as the ball gets played to Baldi. Now, Baldi looks up, of course, being controlled by Lotfi, and now Kilju joins the attack in towards us. Makabal back to Lotfi. Almost a big chance there. Snuffled away, if that's even a word. I probably just invented that one as well, as Idris plays it up towards the left-hand side. One back, though. Again, Monaco just suffocating the play here, Wes, and it seems like BOAVISTA haven't been able to break out of that midfield battle. Yeah, they seem to really be putting the pressure on them from the front. If we can see there, BOAVISTA need to take care of the ball a little bit more. It's a cynical one from Naldo, but they just need to take care of it that touch more. You know, it's passes that are just going astray. It's passes that are not finding their targets. And when you're in a scenario like this, where it is you're being pressured, you need to kind of play around the pressure. Don't play into it, play around it. Try and force players to come out of positions. Try and make an advancing run with a player that doesn't normally advance the run. And at least then you can try and break the cycle of, we run forward, we lose the ball, it comes back. We run the forward, it loses, and we bring it back. You need to have something that breaks that cycle. Is there anything tactically you can do when the game's not going so well for you? Talk about set pieces, etc. Is there anything you can do tactically to change things other than formations and personnel, i.e. play for set pieces, for example? Yeah, well, if you look at it, you can hold off the player, you can use shielding. When you use shielding, you kind of force the person to draw a foul. So the only way you're getting that ball back is if you foul. Again, similarly here, you want to be playing passes that these guys now aren't used to. You've had a game and now a half, to really put it home. See, it's a big chance here for BOAVISTA. Wonderful fingertip save from the Monaco #1 there. That was probably the biggest chance of the match so far for BOAVISTA, and now, unfortunately, it didn't go in, and they could be caught cold on the counter-attack if they can play the final ball right. Pellegrini just held up there, now finds Maripan. Good defending again, good hassling there from Rafael Costa. The danger seems to have been averted, but only momentarily. It's back with Martins, and then finally hacked away. But that was a big chance. That would have been 2-1, 25 minutes to play, all on. Would have been a potential game changer for me if the goal goes in at that point. I think you'd very much put pressure on his Pellegrini into Sila, and Fabiano just comes away with it.
Ball's deflected back into Gelson Martins. It's Pellegrini. Oh, it's a great save from the BOAVISTA keeper.
An absolutely wonderful save there from the goalkeeper, because that would have been 3-0 all over. Great reverse pass there, smashed towards the near post. Fingertips again wide of the target.
See here, going to tactics again. Again, BOAVISTA now looking for players to bring on. And again, it's interesting to see that there's a difference in personnel than what was there in Matchday 1. I think looking at, you've got Akai, who's on the bench there, who they're looking at bringing on, was actually the starter. You know, there's loads of different, little different nuances that we've, you know, it's interesting to see the comparisons between Matchday 2 and Matchday 1. It really is.
If you wonder why I went silent there, my headphone cable was pretty much wrapped like an anaconda around my chair, and I was nearly strangled. So I'm back live, don't worry. Wes, thanks for covering for me there. 2-0 still with 20 minutes remaining here for BOAVISTA. Of course, now, we said how disappointed they may have been only drawing that first game. If they were to get 2-2 here, it would be a massive, massive result for them. But it doesn't really look likely, does it now, Wes?
It doesn't, no. They've only registered, I think it's that one shot that was the chance that was parried by the Monaco goalkeeper. They've only had one chance. You know, are their tactical changes a little bit too late in the day? Potentially. You know, you look at the Monaco players and they seem to have their tails up, but, you know, goal goes in the next couple of minutes. You could see, you know, panic stations be hit by Monaco, but again, the passes just seem to be falling shy, and as he just draws the foul against Gelson. Oh no, it was Akai that brought down Gelson there. It's looking as though Monaco are just in control and they've settled in there to take this.
Let's say this finishes 2-0. Have you seen enough from BOAVISTA going forwards to think they could be a threat in this competition?
Yeah, I still think that it's there. I think any of the teams that are here and any of the players that are here, I think they have the abilities to challenge. I think if you looked at the way they played against Nantes in Matchday 1, granted they got blew away in the first game 4-0, but brought it back to 2-1 in the second. They have a game within them, and we saw it from the first game here as well. To earn a draw, you know, when they arguably should have won, they have a performance in the locker, and I think that they'll be okay in this season.
Up towards the halfway line, Naldo hacks it back, and anywhere will do for AS Monaco. Happy just to keep the ball up the other end of the field. Great challenge again from Naldo, who's been pretty superb defensively. And now Slimani finds Pellegrini. One back through to Slimani. Almost breaks for Pellegrini again. Easy save in the end for the BOAVISTA goalkeeper, who's not really had a lot to do outside of picking the ball out of the net twice.
Yeah, he's you know, Monaco have been clinical with their chances, as we see. Cassiano, Akai is breaking kindly. Cassiano trying to get it back, but Naldo just clears it away. And as we said in the beginning, Naldo, Glick, unfashionable centre halves to have in your team, but when it comes to stat balance mode, they're two of the best.
And obviously with this stat balancing, does there need to be a certain amount of training going in beforehand to know which players to use?
Yeah, I would say you need to have it's a lovely ball into the box.
Great flick on. Oh, it's a big chance out again. And that again would have been very interesting to see if we could have got a second goal. But now the counter-attack is on for AS Monaco to well and truly seal this tie. Slimani, believe it or not, still has the pace, but finally the defender gets back. He's run a shift. He's put a shift in today, Slimani, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has, and he was key to their performance in Matchday 1. But you know, to get them back into into game 2, it's headed on towards Slimani. It's bouncing around in the box, and keeper comes out and gets it. Just to go back to your point in regards to training and research, I think it's massive. I think, you know, even for the likes of us, when we look at players, you know, I've gone away and looked at some of the traits that these players have, and I've gone, I didn't realise that player had that trait, and it kind of explains a little bit as to why some of these players are selected over other players. But I think it's massively important to know what you've got across your entire club. That's
lovely reverse pass from Silla, and it's in towards Martins. Right foot shot into the bottom corner. Game, set, match. Monaco 3, BOAVISTA 0. And that is a stunning response from the French side after what most people thought was a bit of a shot first result. Stunning performance from the champions.
Yeah, it's a great combination again. It's Uzma Kabayel, it's into Kilsu. It's a lovely reverse ball from Uzmat, and Killzoo, again, just very easy. Once you realise that manual goalkeeping is not being used, goals going into the near post are quite easy, and they very much made it look easy there.
So it's a tough pill to swallow for BOAVISTA to lose this second game 3-0 after playing so well, and possibly, you'd have to say, shading that first game. To come away from today with just the 1 point must be hard, but they've probably had the hardest task today out of anyone up against the former champions, or the current champions actually, as Cassiano now plays it in, blocked by Glick, fired forwards deep into the final minute of added on time. A fourth goal would be harsh on BOAVISTA, hacked back downfield. It'd be interesting to hear from the guys in the mix zone after the game, and it has finished here. Monaco 3, BOAVISTA 0 in the second game, 2-2 in the first game. So 4 points for Monaco, 1 point for BOAVISTA. Wes, was it a fair result to have 4 points and 1, or do you think BOAVISTA will feel a little bit hard done by?
Over the